South African Survivor specialists Alexa and Robert are back to recap the 6th episode of South African Survivor Season 6. I have said the word 6 so many times tonight. How are you, Robert? I'm going to mute because my Alexa got triggered.
Oh, God, not your clone. All right, I'm doing great. It was a great episode of South African Survivor. The weather's warming up as we enter spring here in the Northern Hemisphere. I don't know why I need to say that, but
spring has sprung.
Spring has sprung.
It's 6 o'clock and it is like actively light outside in New York.
Crazy.
So I'm
thanks daylight savings time.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks daylight savings time. Yeah, you guys, Robert and I are thrown off because we were definitely not planning something for the end of this podcast while still talking about going live. But
don't hype it up.
Nothing to hype up. It's really not that special. So we are here to talk about the 6th episode of South African Survivor Season 6. Holy moly. And
Philippines.
I wanted to say, Robert and I were talking beforehand, but I wanted to save this for when we are actually live. I've had the same feeling with Australian Survivor Season 2. People raved about the season. People love the season. A lot of American Survivor fans are crazy about that season, and the same with this season. I am very much enjoying it, but there are a lot of twists, and there are a lot of things that in American Survivor I can't stand, and I can't decide if I'm just liking it because it's different or if I'm applying a different standard. 2 people got voted out tonight, and they are still in the game.
Yeah, that's a little... I think I'm in the same boat as you. Like, coming from, like, American Survivor, it's like, I wouldn't like this at all. But it's like, it's new, it's different, it's already different. Like, the editing and how they do just everything is already different enough for American Survivor that it's like, what's a little more different, right? Like, it doesn't... Like, yeah, it's kind of weird, it's kind of wacky, but I'm having fun with it. So, does it really matter?
I'm having fun with it too. And we have... we have a quitter tonight, which we haven't watched a quitter live in a really long time.
Long.
Don't know when the last time that happened in American Survivor was. I don't know if that's actually happened in the 30s, and I can't decide if I'm making that up. I guess Cagayan had a
B in Dave vs. Goliath.
B in Dave vs. Goliath. That was like I guess all quits can be justifiable or non-justifiable, but yeah, B and Dave vs. Goliath. I feel like she's probably the only one.
Like hers was like, it makes sense. I don't know.
Yeah, it's literally her job to have a leg, but neither here nor there. We have a quitter tonight, and we have 2 people get voted out, and then they switch tribes, and we have 2 tribes go to tribal council at the same time. There is someone with 2 idols, and we're only 6 episodes in. I feel like if all of this happened in American Survivor, people would be rioting.
People would be mad.
It.
I had fun. Yeah. I mean, even like we didn't get any sort of idea, because normally Jeff would be like, oh, you guys are going to tribal council together. And then for the entire episode, I'm like, are they going separately or are they going at the same time? And are they voting at 1 person or 2? And there just wasn't any like line of like, here's exactly the rules that you're playing by, which I think is what a lot of people like about US Survivor, is like those rules are defined. And like, it was just like, whatever, like we're going to go, they're going to vote people off, and I'm going to have a good time.
Yeah. And do you think the players knew? Because I was with you where I was kind of just waiting. I assumed that they were going to be separate because Nico wasn't like, and you're gonna be together. I think that's just a Jeff thing.
That's what I assumed, is because we've seen that before where Jeff like explicitly states they're together. So I assumed that they were not.
Yeah. And they like, I don't really know. The preparation for both of the tribes was a little different because Martinez was going to quit. I kind of couldn't tell if that was real or not. And then, with the other group, like Josie was on the outs and John is on the outs, but like, did they know they were going to be together? Because you have to prepare very differently if that's the case.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I would assume that they knew that they were going to, or if they were going to be together, they wouldn't only be voting at 1 person. Like they could vote together, but then they vote out their things separately. So I don't know if they knew like that the other tribe would physically be there.
Right. I did like how they were I liked how they were seated kind of separately. I thought it looked really cool. So I guess let's dive into this, because there isn't a lot in this episode apart from preparing for this vote out and the immunity challenge. Right. Did you actually think that Martinez was going to quit?
So, oh man, Martinez, this episode was just,
Oh, he was tough.
it was such a wild ride because at the beginning I was like, all right, Martinez kind of being a dick again. And then there was like a little bit where it's like, oh, they're kind of doing him dirty. Like this is way too mean for him. Like he didn't deserve this. And then he was being a dick again. And then there was like that weird moment at the challenge where like Tom looked like he was gonna punch him, and then they hugged, and I'm like, all right, so they're cool. Like they're just painting Martinez in the bad light for no reason. They're friends. And then he's like, yeah, I'm quitting. And I'm like, you're talking about being smart, so I don't believe you. And so I thought he was gonna like play an idol that we didn't see, and then he quit. So that was my whole roller coaster. I don't know what was going on. That was just a nuts time.
I thought it would have been very cool if he had an idol we didn't see, because that's something that we've definitely missed out on. Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, I feel like he was en route to having a kind of redemption like 2 episodes ago, because he started off not fitting into the group. He was talking about possibly quitting, sort of gets in with the majority just because everyone else wants John or Stacey Lee to go home, swaps onto this new tribe, and PK and Tevin are just too tight. And I don't think they were his favorites when he was a part of that majority on the original Mindanao. So for him to just get stuck with them, and for what it's worth, like, I don't think they did anything to prevent him from quitting. I
don't see why anyone would.
They liked him.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like they wanted to keep him under control or whatever they wanted to do to him, which is like, I mean, if you want to try to keep someone under control and then they just want to quit, like, no reason to make your life any harder for yourself. So.
Right. And I think he's someone they wanted to keep under control, but I just think he was the wrong personality type to like be that person. If you want to, for what it's worth, out of all the people on their tribe, there's 5 people there. You're not going to go for Katinka, who's just floating around catching fish and fixing a shelter, which is for some reason a note that I took.
I think control in their context isn't like do what we want, but control is like stop doing things we don't want, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Right.
That's true.
Like, as opposed to having a number, it's like stop being an agent of chaos. It's just like, hey, Martinez, you're being ridiculous. We don't want you to be ridiculous anymore. At least just be neutral.
Right. I don't think he could not be an agent of chaos.
Yeah. No, that's all he's been. That's all he was.
But I get wanting to keep him because he's a big dude. And candidly, he hasn't like stuck out to me in challenges as being like a total champion, but I don't really think anybody has. It's not like Lockie wanting to quit from Australian Survivor. It's not like the person who is the reason you're winning the challenges. And PK even says Tevin's like, we can win a challenge without you, which is very threatening and candidly, I think, poor gameplay, but ends up working out well for him.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, at some point, like, why try to fight that fight? Like, even if you think Martinez is good to have as some sort of like meat shield or some sort of like annoyance to keep the target off yourself, like he's not going to be your ally if you try to fight for him to stay. So like, it's really just kind of just let him go.
Right. And so even when Martinez like announces this, Annalise is like, I wish we had gotten more from her, because she very well could have been the person who goes home, and she survives, obviously. And I feel like we just didn't hear a lot from her. Like, I think she probably thought she was going home, probably didn't believe that he was going to quit. And then he ends up quitting. And then Nico's like, oh yeah, you guys aren't done yet. Like, if I was her, I would think I'd be gone like 3 times over.
Yeah. And so like, why are we not hearing from someone who is going to think that they're being voted out? Right. And we saw like on the, the Luzon tribe, right? Oh my God, did I get that right?
Yes, that is correct.
Yeah,
I forget what color Luzon is.
Luzon's red. I just forgot the everything in my mind just disappeared for a second right there. But we're back. On the Luzon tribe, like we were seeing the drama of like, oh, we want to blindside Inverter. Are we going to be able to? Oh, now he has an idol, another one. What's going on? And then they eventually do vote out Shanae. And so like that, like we did see some of the drama on that side of like the whole thought process of everything, which was really nice.
Right. So I guess let's go over to a couple other tribes. So, well, I mean, we'll end up getting back to them, but on the Visayas tribe, which is how you pronounce it, Tom and Palisa make up. Do you think that they and Tom still continues to have some Tom situations? Do you think that they are built to last, or do you think this is really just like there are 4 of us on this tribe and we have to be friends?
I think it's I think it's more of like there are 4 of us on this tribe, and that, like, as we saw with Mariska last episode, like, she's someone who wasn't willing to, sacrifice something in order to like build up that friendship with Tom. But Peleis is like, yeah, there are 4 of us. If we don't do this and, like, work as a team, I could just be the next one home or going home.
Yeah.
So I think that there is something there. Like, you can't just, like, be friends with someone that you're never going to be friends with. But it is good that they're able to work out their differences at some point in the game. And, there is that thing there.
I think it is, but at the same time, I feel like Tom just always needs to be antagonizing to somebody, because at this, your hair looks so good, Robert. I promise.
Thanks. I'm doing my best.
It's looking very long and very poopy in a good way.
Yeah.
But Tom at this immunity challenge, which is something we've seen before, and if any of you have watched Australian Survivor, you've also seen this one before. Tom and Martinez kind of get into it, like, for really no reason. They have never interacted before.
Sorry, I literally just, like, zoned out for a second thinking about something else. Can you repeat that?
That is totally fine. Yeah. I was saying that Tom he's that kind of person who just always ends up in the conflict position, because at this immunity challenge, Martinez starts to rib him for, like, it's really just like the 2 chaotic people are kind of like interacting, but there was really no reason for that to ever happen. I don't know why Martinez
I don't even like, it wasn't even Tom's fault. Martinez was just like, hey, I'm going to pick on this guy. And then, like, Tom is not the kind of person to just, like, go with the flow on that. Like, he's going to be riled up about it.
I don't think he can roll his eyes and walk away.
Right. And for this part, I was like, why is, like, at this point, this was still on the Martinez roller coaster. And I was like, why are they doing this to Martinez? Like, I mean, obviously he's being super brash and arrogant, but, like, you're not in the challenge. And, like, I was thinking that, like, once Martinez's tribe, once Mindanao, like, got out, that he would stop, because you're not trying to win anymore. At that point, after Mindanao is out, Martinez is just being annoying just to be annoying. And it's like, what are you doing?
Yeah. And he's talking, I think he talks smack to Werner a little bit too, which makes a tiny bit more sense because they left on bad terms before the swap. But again, I think this was just another example of Martinez, like, kind of just being a pain in the butt for no reason. So
yeah,
I get why they couldn't stand him. But this one, yet another sponsored challenge. This is Steers Burger Bar. I've never been to Steers. I've also never been to Africa in general, let alone South Africa. Looked pretty good, and they were pretty amped about it.
Yeah, well, something that got me about the marketing is that they were like, Steers barbecue sauce, world famous. And I'm like, I've never heard of this before. Maybe
world
the marketing is lying.
Not in New York.
Yeah, but that means that if something is, like, world famous in the US, like, probably not world famous in South Africa. So get out of the way, brand. Like, I don't want to hear this anymore. You're not world famous. You're just famous to me. Anyways, that was my marketing rant.
Yeah, maybe if someone could bulk order or order one barbecue sauce to be sent to both of us so that we can test it out.
I would be so surprised if that happened, but I would love that.
All 11 of you listening right now, make it happen. You could crowdfund it. So, the shipping is probably wildly expensive.
Yeah, from South Africa. I mean, they freed up the ship in the canal, so it'll probably get here soon.
They sure did, Robert. Great cultural reference there.
Yeah, that was. I want to put it back as.
Put Twitter it back. I wanted it stuck. It was the only thing keeping me alive.
Yeah, that's all that Twitter was, and now all the memes are going to be gone. So, time to find a new meme.
We're gonna something else will happen. I'm confident in that.
Social media don't find it.
Right. So Visayas wins, which sends both Luzon and Mindanao to tribal council. First and foremost, because there is not a lot of Visayas content, Tom is this poor guy. Like, he is sort of like Martinez in that he's getting a lot of redemption arcs, but he's also making a lot of, like, stupid, weird blunders. However, he does seem to be more self-aware than Martinez. This guy is just like, he's licking serving spoons. He's dipping them back in. And everyone is so disgusted by that.
Like, yeah, it's gross. And if someone did that to me, like, tonight, I would be like, don't do that. That's weird. But, like, you're on Survivor. Like, you can't shower. Everything is disgusting. You're in the wilderness. Whatever. Like, who cares?
Really, I struggle with this. It's just like the camera work was like really good. He is just like licking it like an ice cream cone. Like he is loving the spoon and then dips it back in. Like,
I mean, I'm
if
not
you
saying I'd be
use
like,
it,
I wouldn't be like,
sure.
yeah, good job, Tom.
Like,
I'm so
thank you.
glad
Like,
you
let me
did
take a
that.
lick of that now. Like, that's
Yeah.
not, yeah.
I'm not like that, but also it's like you're already like, rolling around in the mud basically, and you're dirty and you're on Survivor and there's sand everywhere. It's not like, oh, this is too much. It's like you're already past too much.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I guess you're right. And what am I going to do? Not eat? I don't even
Yeah,
know. What
you're
to
gonna
do.
keep eating because you're starving. It's
Right.
not gonna matter.
Yes.
So
So I guess I would. I certainly didn't need those gratuitous.
I also did not.
screenshots,
I did
but
not need to see it. I
I
will
didn't
agree
need to
with
see it.
that.
Like, I know they made it like a whole thing, which was hilarious. But I was like, God, that would like almost ruin the meal for me. But then again, I've never starved on an island before.
Yeah.
Thought it was important to bring up.
Very
So
funny though.
we talked a little bit about the Mindanao situation, but we'll stick with them a little bit and then we'll finally talk about Luzon. PK, I keep mixing them up. Tevin has quite an episode, and we'll get to Tribal Council in a little bit. But Tevin, who I've kind of liked, he comes up with a very cheeky, cheeky was an unnecessary pun that I'm about to use, cheeky way to vote Martinez out by writing Matthew Anus, because they spell
And other
Martinez,
variations, but the
and
most
other
important one being
variation on the parchment. I am embarrassed that I don't remember this because I watched this a few days ago. Do they actually end up writing his name down and voting him out, or does he just quit?
He just leaves.
I wonder if
it
he
was
knew
so
that was
much build
coming
up.
and did it and like one final way to spite them.
Well, I mean, it seemed like it wasn't Martinez's decision to walk that way. It was Nico's decision. Nico was like, all right, you're quitting, just peace out.
Yeah, like he's like, I got 9 other things to do with this tribal council. Like, I can't be dealing.
Yeah,
with
like just leave. You're too much work.
Do you think that this happened because Martinez quit?
Like all the
or
name
do you
stuff?
think Martinez would have gotten voted into the other tribe, into Luzon, and Josie still would have gotten voted over into Mindanao? I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, that's probably something that they would deal with on the fly. Also, can I say that I was expecting, like, before going into like the swap, I was like, are we gonna lose 3 people tonight?
Me
That's
too.
what I was
like,
thinking.
There's not many episodes.
Yeah, it's like I don't think we have like. Are we doing like a double recap episode in this season or something?
Oh gosh. Oh, the recap episode. I forgot about that.
Yeah, the throwbacks. So
I was wondering that too. I was like, there's no. So I figured something was afoot, or maybe there was like an exile island or something, because losing 3 people at once would have been crazy.
That would have been nuts. Yeah, I mean, I do think that I feel like they were going to do this swap anyways. I don't feel like they were going to get rid of 2 people. But then they're just like, whatever. We don't want to like, actually have to like deal with voting someone out or something. So like Martinez, we're just gonna. Maybe they didn't. Think about this. What if they didn't have the snuffer and that's why he had to walk?
Oh,
right?
That's
what if
smart thinking.
That would be like a weird like, oh, guys, we don't have it. Just like have him leave.
You have to make him leave. Like you have to go somehow. Yeah, Nico will just like gaslight him and like just make him leave that way. That's probably it.
That would be. I can't imagine I'm right, but if I am, that would be fun.
I hope that you're right. But I think you're right. I think that is something that was pre-planned. Because obviously, like Nico and production know that he's going to quit. Like it's not like he walked into that with a giant secret. And what was I going to say past that? And also, what if you okay, you vote him out and this guy was actively ready to quit and now you're going to put him on another tribe? Like that's just not going to be good TV.
Yeah, it's like, haha, you don't get to quit. You're on the other tribe, and then you quit anyways, and it's like that's just weird.
Yeah, so I guess it makes sense to have done the swap anyway, and I guess it kind of.
I don't know. I'm frozen.
Am I back?
We're back. Okay.
Yikes.
It's
okay.
Live. Cool.
Anyways, to go to Luzon camp before actually going to tribal council, pretty much Josie and John are the 2 who are in trouble, and Werner and your winner pick Tony, they're the ones who are in control right now. I genuinely thought that John was going to be going home, but Werner finds a second idol and tells Tony. And does he actually find it in that area where they were
He
digging
does, yeah. He
forever?
finds it digging in that spot, and he's like, "Oh my god, Ace was so close."
It's just hilarious because like Josie had been digging in it the previous week.
It's like everyone had been digging there. It's
this
insane.
whole like camp has just been like destroyed in that one little spot. But Werner finds a second idol and immediately tells Tony. I feel like I would have red flags go off if I now knew a guy had two idols. There have not been many double idol holders, especially those who have had success in Survivor.
Yeah, I mean that is very scary, right? Like even if you could like hypothetically like do something about it, it's like there's the risk of having an idol is like, what if I play it and I don't need to? But now you don't need to worry about that because you can just be like, oh, I still have another one, right? Like puts a huge target on your back, but also like not people can't do anything about it because you have a safety idol. So
right, he has a backup idol, and he can say this is a group idol all he wants, or he can say, "Oh, Tony, this is for you." But when you have two, it's it's way more risky, and they are public facing too.
Right.
So
right.
I'm curious to see how this works out. Go ahead.
I thought Werner was gonna get voted out. Honestly,
really,
I felt like they were gonna pull it off, even though they were like, "Oh, he has a second idol," but like. If you're gonna blindside someone with one idol, you can blindside someone with two idols. Like I don't think at that point it matters. It's just a little scarier. But
I feel like Tony didn't want to get rid of him. Like she told him, and she was like, "Dope," and like that was it. Or he told her.
From Tony's perspective, if someone's trusting you with the knowledge that you have a second idol, like that means that they value you as an ally, which means that you can value them as an ally, right?
Right.
So there's no reason to give up access to idols if you don't have to.
Right. And for what it's worth, that's what Josie goes for, because Josie's obviously like knows she's in trouble. To this day, I don't really know why they picked John over Josie, because Josie really doesn't have any allies anymore. But she's the one they end up getting rid of. But she like pitches herself to Tony, and Tony's just like kind of not having it.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like, oh my gosh, so tired. I feel like Josie I think it's obvious now that like Josie at least values Tony as an ally, even if Tony doesn't, because she picked Tony at the end to finish the double swap or whatever it was. And I'm defending this because I have her as my winner pick. This is all still just good news for Tony, right? Werner values her as an ally and is telling her about the idol. Josie values her as an ally and is willing to take her over on the swap because she feels alone. I'm assuming that she and John are still cool. That Tony and John are still cool, but like I think Tony's still in a good spot, even though she just got swapped.
I think she is. She definitely wasn't happy about getting picked.
No, I mean I can't imagine anyone would be, but
right. But now she's
unhappy and a winner. That's fine.
Yeah, I don't need a happy winner as long as she wins.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. And Werner actually does tell John about his second idol, which I kind of forgot about. So. Right. I think maybe he's kind of like what she had pitched to him last week. Like, I think he is kind of using her, but in a useful way. And now he has Katinka and Annalise on his tribe. So that is just now a weird group of four.
Yeah, that is a very strange, like, I guess the other tribe, the new Mindanao or whatever, like they're like all the people we've seen more. And now it's Werner, John, Annalise, Katinka.
Right. Yeah, so Annalise and Katinka we've not gotten enough of.
Yeah, that's going to be Werner and John kind of going at it, and then we'll see what happens to the other two, right? Because we haven't gotten much screen time from them.
But what I have to say, the most important part of this episode, especially for Josie, is that Tevin hits on her from opposite tribes, and then she ends up on his tribe.
That was so funny.
The continuity of that was just hilarious.
Yeah, they were like, "Hey, this is still Survivor. This isn't like The Bachelor or whatever." So funny.
Oh my god. Yeah. What are you thinking about him after this episode? I am sticking that like he is an obnoxious but very good character.
I agree. Like the fact that he came up with let's disgrace Martinez's name on the way out, like kind of too much, but good game player, has that funny moment with Josie. And I mean, he's still making strategic decisions, which is very cool. And it's fun seeing him as like the guy who's trying to control the game strategically. So,
yeah, he's been a great villain.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
doing a really good job as the villain. But he is funny. Like I think I would like him. And he like again, he hits on Josie and then she ends up sitting directly next to
Yeah.
him.
So
Like
good.
he may as well have just like
So
put his arm
good.
around her.
Love
Um,
Island, baby.
it was so well done. So Josie is voted into Mindanao. Annalise obviously gets voted out, back sent over to Luzon. Josie then picks Tony to come with her, and Annalise picks Katinka. What do you think of both of those choices? We kind of already talked about Josie picking Tony. What did you think of Annalise picking Katinka?
Well, that's a really hard thing to analyze, seeing as we don't have a lot from them. But I
Yes,
guess
from
if
either.
I guess if we don't have a lot from either of them, that probably means that it seems like they would be aligned in some way. I mean, more so, I guess if the other choices are PK and Tevin, right? Like, I guess you could technically split up that duo, but you're not like you're just putting your own ally at risk. And if PK and Tevin end up making it back together at the merge, they're just going to be a duo again. So you're not really like gaining anything, and you're not really hurting another person's alliance. So I think it was the right choice.
Yeah, I was curious if it was worth it to break them up and like bring PK along, because I feel like PK doesn't have as much of a relationship with Werner as Tevin does.
Right.
I think if she does that, then Josie is not Josie, excuse me. Jean is in trouble. But I don't know if Annalise like has all that background context. But knowing what I know, I feel like it would have been a better choice to bring PK. But again, I don't really know who Annalise or Josie.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you try to take PK over, then I don't see, unless you try to like pass it off as like, oh, I'm just really close with PK, but like PK and Tevin are like very upfront about them being a tight duo.
Right.
And so you could be like, oh, I'm just closer with PK. And then Tevin would be like, no, you're not. I am. And so I don't feel like there's a good way to like maintain you're kind of just like burning the bridge between you and Tevin a bit, which doesn't seem like
just for the sake of like potentially keeping yourself safer for another few votes.
Yeah. Or worst case, you do that just to like throw a challenge and vote PK out, but like that doesn't seem very smart. So
yeah, no. So I know we kind of talked about this a bit at the beginning, but do you like that they did this?
I mean, overall, no, but we're kind of depraved of Survivor content, so I'll take it. You know.
Yes, we sure are, and I hope, and like I feel like the editing was a little bit better on Australian Survivor. Like two of the main characters tonight are two characters or players who had big things happen to them. Like we don't know a ton about. Like Annalise, we don't have a ton on. Tony and Josie, like we have a little more, but I do feel like there's a chunk that's pretty under edited. And it's really the same with Katinka. I feel like that's probably all we're going to get with her, but I feel like Josie and Tony definitely have some gameplay. Right. So I would like to see a bit more from them.
I think here's a good way to put it. I'm glad that they're doing stuff different from US Survivor, because I think if they tried to copy US Survivor like completely, it just wouldn't work. And it would just feel like, oh, this is a bad knockoff. So I like the fact that they're trying to be different. I just think that they missed with this one, but that's okay.
Yeah, which is fine. Yeah. It's not like Nico is saying this is the greatest twist that's ever happened. And
yeah, it's like, no, this is just, we're just having fun. You know?
Yeah. I do like dramatic Jeff, but it is also kind of a nice change of pace for not everything to be the biggest piece of drama ever.
Yeah, it's like you just had 20 of the other biggest things ever. Like, what?
Yeah.
Like, choose one.
Let's take a break. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, let's calm down. We can do a smaller thing, you know?
Yeah. I will say Nico is a lot nicer to quitters than Jeff is.
Oh, I mean, he still was harsh.
Yeah,
Don't get me wrong.
He just doesn't like, I guess like it doesn't show in his voice as much, but yeah, Nico wasn't.
Yeah,
really
Jeff is like personally insulted.
Yeah, because for what it's worth, like Martinez's quit was like he wasn't giving anything.
It didn't even feel like a good reason. He's like, my brain works too fast or whatever.
Yeah, and he was like, I'm not being who I like, and I can't go farther. It's not like
and there was that weird thing with the chessboard earlier where he's like, oh, if PK, he was playing PK and he was like making fun of him, which is so weird. It's like, yeah, PK, like when he's losing, he keeps trying. And when I lose, I quit and restart. And I'm like, I guess, obviously it's foreshadowing, but I was like, is that better? I feel like
Yeah, I don't
sticking
think
it
that's a
out
good
and
way
like
to be.
persevering, right? Like that's a good idea in life. So
I
don't know.
missed that. That was some serious foreshadowing. But yeah, that's correct to be like, I don't think that's the right way to go about things.
Yeah, I mean, there's a way through besides just like peacing out, but
Yeah.
whatever.
I think he also probably knew he was just like never gonna get far. Like I think all the bridges were kind of burned.
Or
and there
we're
wasn't
going to be burned.
right, yeah, or that he was going to burn. And I think he knew that he didn't bring any value that someone else couldn't bring. So I guess that's it.
Yeah, see you, Martinez.
Yep, he's gone. I like chaotic energy, but I think I prefer a chaotic Tevin more so than Martinez. Martinez kind of just bothered me.
Yeah, he was. I guess we did our best to give him the chance that he could to make it further in the game, but he kind of didn't really use that opportunity well. So
yeah. Anything else you have in this episode? Did you watch the preview? Because as you know, I probably didn't.
I did watch the preview. I also don't remember what happened, even though I watched this like an hour ago.
I'm gonna take notes on the preview because I always forget. I feel like you also forget.
It was something about Tom being like really annoying, and then
you've got some par for the course.
I don't remember. Does chat have it?
Yeah, Ryan Chan asked about Chaotic Ace. I actually liked Chaotic Ace more so than Chaotic Martinez.
Yeah, Chaotic Ace was there's a difference between like being a bad game player, which I think Ace was, and being just like a bad person, which I think Martinez was.
Which is what Robert's mic drop is for the night.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that on like the 0.01% chance Martinez is watching this, you're probably a good person in real life. That's just how they edited you. So now I have one less person possibly like hating on me on Twitter.
There you go. I was about to say you're really about to have you're about to be in some trouble with the online international.
All the Martinez stands are gonna bear their
Martinez stands. There are literally dozens of them.
There are dozens of them. Yeah, and I'm trying to be careful. I want my Twitter notifications to be clean.
There you go. So that's unless you have anything else, Robert. That's really what we have on this. On this episode. We'll be back at the same time. Yep, at the same time next week, covering the 7th episode. We finally found ourselves in a rhythm. Tomorrow night, Phil and I are continuing our classic Survivor episodes rewatch, or I guess like series, not so much a rewatch. We are talking about the Survivor Cagayan merge, which very much has real life implications for a lot of people. It ends up winning Sarah $1 million, which is very exciting. So make sure to tune into that.
Ends up winning Tony $3 million.
Yeah, that's a really good point. So tune into that. We're going to be doing that tomorrow night, a little earlier at 5:30 p.m. Eastern. Follow us on social media. Become a patron at patreon.com/Survivor Specialists. We are doing a March Madness bracket for our retrospective this month of Jeff's hats versus Jeff's shirts. So tune in for that. It's going to be really ridiculous.
Will blue shirt win? Who knows?
Or will black cardigan win from a finale? Tune in. Become a $10 patron.
You're doing finale shirts too?
Yeah, because he doesn't have that many shirts.
Yeah, I was like, how are you doing this? But that makes sense.
Yeah, we're down. I need 3 more shirts and 1 more hat. And I already put in no hat. All right, everybody.
16 seed.
Yeah, all right, everybody.